Welcome to the Church of Athreos. We have Pastor Elas with us today, and we're so excited. As far as opening hand goes, though, we got a one-lander, so let's go mulligan on this one. Not super wild about that. And yes, we will keep on this. I like this. We've got a sack outlet. We've got Ransack the Lab, Dark Confidant, and what do we need to put something on the bottom? I guess we put Thrain Dynamo. Yeah, we're fine with that, because everything else we want to keep, because I want to lead off with the Viscera Seer, and then be able to go for Dark Confidant the following turn, then be able to go to Ransack the Lab, and then hopefully hit that land for Chromatic Lantern. But yes, parishioners, welcome to the Church of Athreos. We're going to be sacrificing in the name of Athreos today, so I hope you're excited. And this little heart thing, oh, we got a companion deck over here. Oh, that's so sweet. All right, there we go. It's got a little heart over there. Let's go. I don't know why. That's just... wasn't expecting a little heart zone for the companion. Yeah, I think we just end up going Dark Confidant on this one. Let's get the let's get it going. Let's get the card draw going. I haven't had Dark Confidant on the battlefield in a very long time, so I'm very excited. Let's go swing across with Viscera Seer for one. Knock our opponent down to 39. And then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Elas, Pastor Elas himself. Death Touch, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. And then whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Playing against Jodah, the Unifier, with some partner action, which will get all of these zones squared up here in a second, my goodness. And there we go. Let's go. Let's hit the land off the top. That's what we're looking for right now. Soul Ring, hey, that is, we'll take that. So let's lead off with High Market. We drop in Soul Ring, and we do want to end it, so we end up going for a Chromatic Lantern. Yeah, I like that, because that's going to get us ahead on mana, and that still allows us to get down another creature. So let's do this. Let's go and drop in Elas. Let's get Pastor Elas onto the battlefield so Pastor can inspect the congregation, see who's up for it. Let's go swing across for 3. And then knock our opponent down to 35, and then anything else pass the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover our commander. Let's go and cover Jodah really quick. Legendary creatures you control, and I'm having, normally I can yield through these triggers, but we have an open sack outlet I want to be able to sacrifice in case there's an exile effect, so I have to mash and click buttons. Anyway, legendary creatures you control get +1/+X/X, or X the number of legendary creatures you control. Then whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you hit a legendary non-land card with lesser mana value. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Then we also have a partner for the deck, or companion, excuse me. No card in your starting deck has more than... That's going to be Renegade Rallier. No card in your starting deck has more than 1 of the same mana symbol in its mana cost. And then tap, add Wooburg to the mana pool. Let me make sure I'm reading that. No card in your starting deck has more than 1 of the same mana symbol. Okay, so I guess it's all multicolored, I think, if I'm reading that correctly. So we'll see what's going on with that. Let's get the little partner zone. We'll make it a little tiny, that way you can kind of see what's going on. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay. All right, so opponent gets down Renegade Rallier and enters the battlefield. That's going to be a return out of the graveyard. Okay, there we go. I'm just trying to make sure we're taking in everything that we've got going on over there. So, all right, so we run into Path to Exile and Dusk to Dawn. And so let's go ahead and go for... I think we do end up going for Ransack the Lab. I think I do like that. So let's go and tap down for black, and we'll tap down for colorless. Let's go Ransack the Lab and put 1 into our hand. So we're simply just going to grab a swamp off of this one. Those go into the bin. Let's make the land drop for the turn. Let's go for Cruel Celebrant. And that's going to... we can't use colorless mana for that. There we go. And we tap down for white. We'll get Cruel Celebrant onto the battlefield. And we're staring down a 3/2 out there. But I think at this point, we want to save Path to Exile for Jodah. I think that's a better thing for us. So we're simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate that. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play Magic Online, they've got you covered. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home in the front row of the church, and you're excited to get that copper smell going very, very soon, it is officially free time. Let's have some fun. And by free time, that means we're about to get to the sermon. So you need to sit down and pay attention. So, but yes, what is the Church of Atherios? If you're new to the channel, if you came across this video, I've been playing Black White Aristocrats for probably about 10 years now. Black White Aristocrats, Atherios was released, and I wanted to make a church full of clerics and humans that all worshipped Atherios. And so that has been the origin story of the Church of Atherios. And with Pastor Elas being... Alright, so that's going to be Safi, okay. But yes, with Pastor Elas being released, one of the things that we've been missing from a Black White Aristocrat build, or a Cleric Tribal build, for a very long time is just like a 2-mana Blood Artist out of the command zone. And with Elas, oh, it is so nice. I love it. It's wonderful. Alright, so we run into Ambition's Cost, and then we run into Fetid Heat. So, let's go for Ambition's Cost, because we want to cash in some card draw. It's going to be 1-2, and then let's go and tap down on Chromatic Lantern. We need to get some more bodies on the battlefield. Alright, so Mother of Runes, ooh, Rally the Ancestors. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So let's go and drop in Mother of Runes. Have Mother of Runes enter the battlefield. We're going to get an additional life gain. And with us hitting Rally the Ancestors, that is a very, very good thing. Let's go ahead and drop in Orzhov Guildgate, because that's going to come into play tapped, and at the very least we can go for Fetid Heath for next turn. So, anything else? No, because we still don't want to really push into that 3-2, so we'll go ahead and pass the turn over to our opponent. We've got Path to Exile. Our opponent does have Safi out there, and once Jodah gets on the battlefield, we'll kind of see what we're doing, but hopefully with Path, that'll give us enough time to at least kind of stop some sort of creature. I'm not really sure what our opponent's doing out there. I've played against a couple different Jodah builds, but when you've got 5-color Jodah, you don't really know what's in there. So you're kind of like, all right, let's see what's going on, especially if they've got the companion aspect to it. So we'll see. We still got Path to Exile up, and then we'll go from there. As far as sacrificing a creature, the only thing that we have right now on the battlefield is Elas. So if we can run into Zulaport Cutthroat or Blood Udders or anything along those lines, that's going to give us an additional way to kind of really amplify these tokens. And so right now we're just looking for more creatures. We can go for a value sweep of our board if we sacrifice everybody. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. And so we're looking, yeah, we just don't really have a way to like kind of KO right now. We need some more amplifying effects, whether it's whenever we gain life and our opponent loses life, or just more Blood Artist style stuff. So hopefully with Dark Confidant and a little bit more card draw, we can get that moving. So our opponent does go for Grist the... Alright, so whenever target creature card is put into your graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield. So let's go, I'm actually okay with this play. So let's go Path to Exile on Rally, because that's going to stop the... That's going to stop the Safi line, that's going to stop the Renegade line, and that's going to stop the Grist line in response to this trigger. So that does get exiled. That gives them an extra land, but at least they've got Safi on the battlefield, and if they want to go for the -2, they could go for that if they wanted to, but we're looking at a -2 on Grist, and so at least do have a sack outlet in response to that. So there we go. All right, I'm just going to go for the bug token, get the insect token on the battlefield. And actually, speaking of bugs, if you didn't see, I released Zera earlier in the week, Zera Super Friends. And so if you want to check that out, it is it's out there. It's kind of fun playing a bug tribal deck. I don't know. I enjoy it. All right, and we're only looking at 1 insect token, so we can kind of start swinging in on this one. So let's get the Dark Confidant trigger, Demonic Tutor, okay, and then Ravo Soul Tender. Okay, so let's make the land drop for the turn. We are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're looking at 9 total mana. So we're looking at Ravos for 5, and that gives us 4 to work with on Demonic Tutor. So let's go for Ravos Soul Tender, because that's going to give us an immediate bonus over the creatures. I do like that. So let's go Ravos Soul Tender, get down Chromatic Lantern. Tap down Chromatic Lantern. We'll go for Ravos, and what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go for Demonic Tutor. And let's go ahead and go Demonic Tutor. And we're going to grab ourselves a 2-drop creature. And I think at this point, what we'll end up going for is if we end up going for Corpse Knight, I think that does help out, or we can try to grab Veto, but I think we might end up just grabbing Corpse Knight, because if we grab Corpse Knight, whenever a creature enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. So we do get a little bit of a bonus off that. You know what, now that I think about it, let's just grab Zulaport, because this makes this a lot easier. So we're going to grab Zulaport, get down Zulaport, and now we're going to be able to swing in for a pretty good chunk of damage against our opponent. They do have the Insect token out there, and do we want to deal with Grist right now? Yeah, I think so. So we end up swinging Dark Confidant at Grist. We've got Elas at Grist. We've got Cruel Celibate at Grist. And then we're going to have Viscera Seer swinging in at our opponent. And then I guess we just hold back Mother of Runes. I think we're okay with that. Alright, so we're going to be able to deal with Grist, hopefully. Get Grist off of the battlefield. And we'll kind of do a little bit of a creature count here in just a second. So we get rid of Grist, we get rid of that minus repeated ability. And then anything else past the turn to our opponent. So, as far as the congregation on the battlefield, we're going to be able to... Each creature that we sacrifice now is going to be 2 life loss to our opponent. And so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then... So that's going to drop them down. I don't think we have enough to wipe them out with Rally the Ancestors. But with Ravos, at the beginning of your upkeep, so we have no creature cards in the graveyard right now. So what we can do with Ravos is we can go for a simple value play and sacrifice something with Ravos. And then once we sacrifice Ravos, not sacrifice Ravos, we can sacrifice a creature. We can bring that back during our upkeep and get a little bit of that life loss against our opponent. So that's going to be General Furious. Hexproof and monocolor. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a full forward Golem token. Okay. I need to play that deck. I haven't played that deck in a while. And... it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun playing that general deck. Alright, so we're looking at a really big Jodah out there. And let's go for the sack. So if we end up sacking a creature that goes from our graveyard to our hand, we do have an Open Dusk if we want to end up going for that. Let's see what we draw into for the turn, though, before we get this going. So, alright, so let's see what we get going. So we got the Ravos trigger, we got the Dark Confidant trigger. And there's no, let's get Dark Confidant trigger on the stack. So we're going to get an extra card draw from this. It's going to be, ooh, that's going to be Hallowed Spirit Keeper. And then Teferi's Protection. Alright, so we end up dropping in Hallowed Spirit Keeper. I think with Hallowed Spirit Keeper, I think this might be it. So we're going to try to end up going for it. So let's get down Hallowed Spirit Keeper. That's going to be an extra life gain. And I think between Rally the Ancestors and Hallowed Spirit Keeper, I think that's going to be enough. So we can't really push past these 7/7s. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's go and go for it. So we're going to go and start sacrificing some of our creatures. So let's go Viscera Seer. Let's go and sacrifice... Because Ravos is at least going to be able... Actually, let's do combat first. So Ravos is at least going to be able to get in for 2. Do we need that extra mana? Because we're looking at 1, 2... 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 total mana. So either way, we're going to miss out on Ravos. If we end up going for Rally, we really only need to rally for like 3. Yeah, I think that's okay. So we're going to miss out on that 1 colorless mana. Let's get in for 2, because I think that 2 might make a difference. So let's go and swing in with Ravos. And then let's go and push in with... And that Golem token is a red... Yeah, it is red-white. So if we end up going... Either way, they're going to be able to block. So let's go and swing in with Ravos. I was trying to think if we could get an extra combat step with Mother of Runes giving somebody protection, but I don't think so. So, alright, so let's get to sacrificing. We're going to sacrifice, let's go and sacrifice Ravos. And I'm going to get, this is going to be a lot of triggers, so I'm just going to go ahead and get these triggers on the stack going. Let's go and sacrifice Mother of Runes. And so what we're doing now is we're sacrificing our creatures in a way that allows us to dump our graveyard. And so what we're trying to do is get all of our creatures in the graveyard. That way, once we go for the Hallowed Spirit Keeper sacrifice, we'll be good to go as far as getting more creatures out there. So let's go ahead and sacrifice Zulaport Cutthroat. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll sacrifice Zulaport Cutthroat, get these triggers on the stack. Let's go ahead and sacrifice Cruel Celebrant. And then we'll go ahead and sacrifice Elas. We'll have Elas go to the bin. Put those on the bottom. Let's go ahead and sacrifice Hallowed Spirit Keeper. And let's go and sacrifice Viscera Seer to themselves. So yes, we will use that ability. There we go. Put that on the bottom for right now. We're going to get all the Hallowed Spirit Keeper tokens out there because we waited for that last trigger. So that's 8 of those. Let's get the Viscera Seer trigger. Let's put that on the bottom. We got the Viscera Seer trigger. And now we're going to go for Rally the Ancestors. It's going to be 1, 2, and then 3. That's going to bring everybody back. And so what this is going to do, this is going to allow us to bring everybody back. We're going to always yield to these triggers. And now with these multiple Blood Artist triggers on the stack, we can use Viscera Seer to sacrifice... all we need to do is sacrifice 3 more creatures. So we sacrifice 3 more Spirit tokens. But what makes this a really interesting line of play is that even once we bring all these creatures back out, we're looking at, we've got 8 creatures out there right now. So let's do some aristocrat math. So we've got 8 spirit tokens out there times 3 because we have 3 blood arts effects. So we're going to be able to drain the board for another 24. and that's not including our utility creatures. So let's say that we sacrifice Zulaport Cutthroat, Dark Confidant, Mother of Runes, that's another 9. So we're looking at 33 on the board state. And then once we sacrifice Hallowed Spirit Keeper, that's going to be another 3, that makes 36. Then we're going to end up with a few more tokens out there. So simply being able to sacrifice our board state, we're looking at about 40 points of Aristocrat life loss to be able to drain the entire board. And this is us just, you know, going for what's out there. You're not going for the super optimal line of play. So even if our opponent's at the table, they have 40 life, you're going to be able to drain the table. But anyway, this is what we're trying to do. We even had some more recursion. We have Dusk to Dawn, so we can blow up all of our opponent's creatures and then go for the Dawn side to bring them back to our hand and start recasting a lot of our creatures. But this is what we're trying to do with Pastor Elas. Get a lot of creatures out there, get some life loss going against our opponent. And we maybe could have gone a little bit sooner, but to be perfectly honest, with Cruel Celebrant out there, I think in my head I viewed Cruel Celebrant as Cartel Aristocrat. And so if we had it a little bit quicker, I forgot that Cruel Celebrant was a Blood Artist effect whenever we tutored up Zulaport Cutthroat. But anyway, we're just making sure we had the extra win on that one. And anyway, if you enjoyed your time at the church, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.